time to get geeked up.
But throughout the show, too, we've had a lot of our buddies on kind of in their own geek knowledge and culture. And in that time, too, we've only had 2 guests that have been reoccurring guests. Our Star Wars nerd resident, Dennis Smith, and, of course, one of our email rules game time guys, Andy Dwan.
Yes, they both joined the what we call here on Saturday Night Live the 5 Timers Club.
That's right.
Oh no, wait a minute, the 2 Timers Club and Geeked Up Podcast, but you get the point.
For sure.
Yes, those are our reoccurring characters, though.
They've been on a couple of times by themselves, but then they also took over the Reeked Up personality on the episode they were on March 12th of 2017. And they
much like the shenanigans we're going through now with the whole Geeked Up boys, as we were talking about earlier.
Absolutely.
But our original copycat troll were the Reeked Up boys, if you remember.
Yeah.
Where, of course, my podcast would auto-correct Geeked Up into Reeked Up. And it was like SoundCloud trying to divert our listenership to the who we then come to find out who was behind it all along.
Yes. The Reeked Up boys themselves, Dennis and Andy, big reveal. So we're going to play a clip from the Bizarro World Reeked Up intro to the show. And then we're going to catch up with Dennis and Andy. So here's that clip.
Ooh, baby. It's time to get
Reeked.
geeked up.
Reeked Up, yo! Geeks and geek. Welcome back to the Reeked Up Podcast episode number OU812. I'm Dennis Smith, back with my part-time, on-time, all-the-time partner in crime, Andy Dwan.
Whoa! What's the crack?
Whoa.
Yeah, Reeks. Now, we know you all are still reeling from our interview last week with Dame Judi Dench with our musical guest of Enya.
Saucy old bitch.
But we got a special treat for you this week.
Oh, man. Who we got on this week? Oh, we got Kesha with Britney Spears.
Ooh, that B Spears, baby. That
saucy blonde bitches.
Yo, man.
All right, you know what?
I guess with that, once again, the Reeked Up boys have snuck back in the studio. Welcome back to the show, the Reeked Up boys, Dennis and Andy.
What's up?
Well, let me tell you guys, it's just absolutely spectacular to be back. I mean, I'm surprised it's taken you this long to get us back, but I'm telling you, it's not for lack of us being busy. It has been a banner 5 years. In fact, I think the more distance that we are from the Geeked Up podcast, the more advertising that we're actually getting.
As the Reeked Up boys? Yeah, well, you know, like we said all the time ago, when you type in our name on SoundCloud, at least on Liam's computer, it changes it to the Reeked Up podcast.
I mean, we've finally been able to troubleshoot the problems with SoundCloud. We finally got our own title on SoundCloud, but...
So I guess also with that, though, but like seriously, guys, welcome back. You two are 2 of the Geeked Up Podcast All-Stars. You're the only 2 people that have actually been on the show more than once. You know, you're our only 2 reoccurring guests, so much so that you guys did jump into our Reeked Up gag and got to kick off one episode of our shows, which is the clip we just played.
But yeah, our 2-time guests, obviously, and then they were on together, obviously, as the Reeked Up Boys, but that was both their second appearance. As I guess we first had Dennis, we first had you on as our Star Wars judge, right? Or it was like our Star Wars debate team talking about if we enjoyed, at that point, I guess it was just episode 7, maybe, or...
It was episode 7 just came out, dude.
Was it Force Awakens?
Yeah,
It
must
was
have been
100%
Force Awakens that just had come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great to be back. Like I'm sorry I've been away for so long. I've been following you guys right along, and it's great to hear you guys, and I'm glad you guys are chugging along, and I'm happy to be part of the Zoomcast when I can.
Yeah, Dennis, you've also been a big part of the Friday night Zoom rooms.
A couple Zooms.
That's been great.
Because you moved out of New York, you've been up in Vermont the last couple of years.
Yeah, I've been up in Vermont the past couple years.
So now
back
that
working
this
up on the
whole
mountain doing that thing.
post-Coronaville has opened up this Zoom platform, though, we can get you back on the show more now, because we've...
Yeah, no, I'd like that. I actually, in the future, I composed a Stephen Root quiz for you guys going forward. So,
All right, well, we got to get you... We got to get you back on. I'm sorry. One of my favorite memories, though, from Andy's time on the show that I wanted to get into, though, was when we had Andy on by himself for his first time. We played the ex-Avengers Squad game. But if you remember, Andy, when we brought you on, unlike Dennis, you got a gift from the Geeked Up Boys. And a hilarious prize closet gift. Do you remember what that was?
Did I? Oh shit!
I guess the question would be, did you watch Alf season 2? Is the
Alf, that was it. I think I lost.
that was his gift. That's great.
I bought an Alf out of the bargain bin at 7-Eleven, and we gave Andy because Andy's obviously from Ireland to catch everybody up on, but we gave him a gift as a gag, the Alf DVD, expecting it to be a hilarious piece of nostalgia. But Andy had no idea who Alf was because he's from Ireland, so was all confused and looked at the box oh, Alf, thanks, boys.
Thanks,
this
guys.
will be great. And we're oh, dude, you're not in on the hilarious gag of.
So the real question is, what did you think about season 2 of Elf?
Yeah, for real.
I think I left it on the E train.
Did it hold up on season 1? But the other thing, Andy, that you're famous for is you actually have a rule named. You're actually a part of the Andy rule, where we first started doing this thing 5 years ago. You gave us the suggestion for the superhero game about the mediocre powers, and then we just stole it from you and put it on the show.
Yes.
It's then called the Andy rule, that if you want credit for an idea, you got to email us in.
Yeah.
If you just call us on the street, we're stealing it. We set the rule with you. That's why we had you on the first time, to play that game.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Anything you say in a bar room, any barroom conversation is up for grabs.
Actually, specifically remembered after the end of Game of Thrones, texting Devin. I was pretty boozy, but texting Devin and being you gotta let me on the show. I've got so many thoughts. I gotta vent them somewhere. Gotta let me on the show.
Many rules.
If I recall, too, you had a scathing review of Chris Rock hosting the Oscars or whatever that year as well. But you have to listen back to.
That's right. The first episode Andy was on, he did have the whole Oscars bit.
I'd actually say I could get in some pretty.
And again, that's another rule you said, Andy, because since then, Liam and I have annually have done an Oscar special. So I think you might have been a part of one of our first, not officially, but a part of our very first Oscar special, man. So, you've set rules. You've been a part of the Oscar special. Dennis, now you over there, you've been on the show. You would, of course, know for a fact that we first started this on May 4th.
Yeah.
So why.
Yeah.
And at the time when the show started, Age of Ultron was just coming out. It was the second Avengers movie, and The Force Awakens was coming out.
Yeah, there was a double whammy for that year, because that was a big movie year. So
that was what kicked us all into that's what inspired the whole thing, that huge summer of 2015.
But Dennis, you and I...
Binks debate on that show, I think, because
it was
I think that
might have been
Anny, because she was saying that she liked Jar Jar Binks, and we're all like, what do you mean, Jar Jar Binks? How is that possible?
You gotta do
I think that was one of the big fire points
Yeah.
of that interview. It was us chastising Amy, being like, dude, this is why you shouldn't like Jar Jar Binks. A, B, C, D, right down the alphabet. But and then that's when we all because I had gotten tickets for The Force Awakens prior to all that.
Correct.
Yes.
We went to the 7 a.m. show, 6 a.m. show?
That was one of the first
I
times.
think it was. It was
and
either
then there
6
was
a.m. or the...
So call me crazy. I have a feeling that it was Christmas that The Force Awakens came out. And
No, it was because I wore my
the trailer dropping.
Christmas shirt,
Yes.
but I think we started the show when the trailer dropped.
Exactly,
for it.
yeah. It was the trailer,
Like,
or
that hadn't even been out
one of
yet.
our infamous poster breakdowns. But
You did, because you made a comment that I was like online waiting to get tickets.
because that was I guess for episode 8 though, was when Dennis was actually during Monday Night Football. We were chronicling Dennis waiting online to get the tickets when they were released at halftime on Monday Night Football. However, you cracked the code and got on early and gave us like the early announcement as we were recording. We got the news that Dennis had got the tickets.
I forgot about that. That's right. I forgot about that.
So, like Devin said, both of you guys Geeked Up All-Stars, and I guess, both of those franchises have kind of had their final episodes, at least of this era. We've had episode 9 for Star Wars, and we've had the Infinity Wars for the Avengers. I guess I asked this to Devin a couple weeks ago, but maybe let me get your guys' take real quick. We look back, 20 years from now, we look back. What is the more iconic franchise, Star Wars or Marvel? Maybe Dennis, we'll start with you. Who's right now wearing a Star Wars shirt and hoping with the Star Wars face.
I mean, I would say Star Wars, but Marvel has like stepped up their game so much, so it's.
Dude, that was I mean, to me that was my answer. That like, of course, like as a child, I had that Star Wars like icon feel, but like as a grown up watching like the first Iron Man or the first Avengers, dude, like I got that childhood feel. Like, dude, this shit's fucking amazing, dude. Like,
I mean, watching Endgame, it was like I was like 6 years old in movie theater again, so it's like.
Yeah.
Whereas like watching Rise of Skywalker, I was like I still had that, but there was a little. I was kind of taken away from it a little bit just because of how it developed from Force Awakens to Last Jedi to Rise of Skywalker.
Because let's be honest too, man, I can honestly say during a point when me and Dennis went to go see the 7 a.m. show, there was about 10 of us sitting in a row watching The Force Awakens, and all of us over the age of 30, all of us crying.
Well, yeah.
Not a dry eye in the house at these 7
I don't know if it was because I was so stoned and it was 7 a.m. and I've been up since the night before, but
Got that you were in the cinema and thought that you were having a real experience.
yeah. And also we
Andy,
did
how
the
about
40,
you?
so
What
it was
are your,
squirting tears in my face.
What are your thoughts, Andy?
Okay, I have a feeling that what some of this is going to come down to is age differences. So I have a feeling, like I've noticed this an awful lot with some of my coworkers who have kids. They are like just all about the Marvel stuff. Which is weird with the comics when they were this age. But like these kids are dressing up as Iron Man at Halloween. Like Iron Man is on literally everything. Like it really kind of blows my mind. I think that Star Wars, because the sequel trilogy didn't I don't know if like it's looked on and in as favorable as a light as an awful lot of those Avengers movies are, but I for one have actually reached the point of Marvel weariness, at least just personally. I think the movies are great. I think the movies are great, don't get me wrong. I'm not showing up open night for a majority.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's a good
I'm
call.
the same way too, man. Like I used to insist I would see all those Marvel movies. But look, you like the beginning of episode 9 where it turns out that Palpatine's still alive and has a podcast? They're like Ghost Radio Wave.
No, but he's right that the Star Wars movies still seem to have a little bit more of like an epic must-see kind of feel, where the Marvel ones you can kind of write off a little bit more.
Yeah,
For sure.
I would think that it would definitely come down to, you would think it might come down to the fact that the Marvel movies have a lot more like room to evolve from here, where the fact that we've already had the 9 episodes done, how much more can you squeeze out of it? However, with all of the stuff in the works, it looks like we're going to be able to see some, like we're going to get a lot of new Star Wars content. So I think given that in mind, we'll get like a second chance to get the kids. I mean, who Baby Yoda, what kids aren't all down for Baby Yoda, you know?
Mandalorian's no joke, man. That show was
Mandalorian's the realness, dude. And I guess what I would say too is I guess I'm the only DC universe fan here. Like that fucking Batman vs Superman Martha scene. Be still in my heart.
I think that
Mom, why did you say mom? Oh, you have a mom? Let's be friends.
Star Wars is like it's the abuse of spouse you just keep coming back to, because no matter how many times you like, it really lets you down. The second you see a trailer is dropped, you go grabbing your action figures.
Yeah, and plus you can always throw on.
How much they let you down? It's like.
And plus, no matter what, you can always just throw Empire on. Be like,
That's the other thing.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you can just throw Empire.
Yeah, and just be like, dope.
I'm somewhere between the generations, age-wise, where like Iron Man came out when I was a kid, but like Star Wars a little bit behind me. But I still would have grown up with those toys and like definitely watched those movies. And I can tell you, in terms of rewatching, I've rewatched Empire. I've rewatched the original trilogy and even probably prequels because they were out when I was a kid. Far more than I've ever rewatched or probably will ever rewatch any Marvel movie.
It's a good call too. They definitely don't have that like, and we don't know if they'll stand the test of time. But I think the only like big superhero movie that I've watched more than once would be like The Dark Knight. I've probably watched a bunch of times. Yeah. Other than that, I don't know if there's same thing with I guess Batman Begins maybe.
Cool, Liam.
I know, seriously.
Cool.
But I mean, other than that, though, honestly, I don't know if any of the superhero movies are like major rewatch. You know.
Yeah.
You know you're a Hemsworth fan there, Liam.
But I mean, I've watched Ragnarok once. I loved it, but I've never seen it again. You know what I mean? Like,
I love Ragnarok. I love
Yeah.
it because I feel like up front when I saw that in the cinema and I was there and my mind was blown. I was having such a good time. But I know it's not going to be that when I rewatch it.
Especially for me because I saw it in 4DX. So my seat was shaking and smoke was blowing. My mind was literally...
Jesus, good for you. Sorry, I forgot they had one of those theaters in New York now.
Yeah, I went to Prometheus. Oh, sorry, not Prometheus.
Prometheus? Cool. How was a movie where nothing happened?
Alien Covenant. So it was like
It shut your eyes for you.
Danny McBride being like tossed around the place.
Oh, shit, yeah, I'll fucking Alien. With that, guys, though, you guys are really missing a golden opportunity to starting, though, honestly, the Reeked Up Podcast. We would,
yeah, definitely. We'd love to compete against you guys anytime. And definitely now, especially in this post-Zoom world, we definitely got to get you guys back on. To talk more geek stuff. You know, a lot of our other guests can't hang and talk the geek world like you guys.
And if history is any example, some tells me we'll have at least one of you guys back on again. You know,
I'm always down.
Yeah, and you're always welcome. You know what I mean? Like you guys, obviously we've had you on multiple times because we like having you. We're fans of yours too, of just your geek knowledge and. I guess I want to say for me and Liam, too, neither of you have said it yet, but it's written all over your guys' faces. Thank you for your 5-year congratulations
to
us.
Thank you very much. That means a lot to us.
We really appreciate it, guys. I know.
4 to 5 more years.
I know we're competitors here, but
I know it was on the tip of both of your tongues.
Congrats, fellas. 5 more years.
Oh, thank you very much, buddy. And we'll definitely
Dennis,
talk
Andy,
some geeks soon.
For sure, guys. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Peace.
So that's old Dennis and Andy. And, of course, Dennis has been a big part of our new thing during quarantine, our Friday night Zoom room parties, too. He's made it for most of those, too. He even recently tried to Stephen Root challenge us.
He stumped me. I think it was my first time, my first defeat in a Stephen Root trivia. But remember, he did actually bring up like 2 or 3 of his questions were characters from Stephen Root's games past. So
absolutely.
He was trying to fool us with our own beat us with our own repertoire.